Hello students, welcome to ACE Engineering Academy. Myself Ramesh Masuna. In this video, I would like to discuss GATE 2021 Database Management System questions. Coming to the first question. The following relation records the age of 500 employees of a company where employee number is the key. Consider the following relational algebra expression. Here you can observe the expression EMP age is a relation which is joining with EMP age. We call it as a self join. And here the second EMP age relation which is joining is renamed as EMP number 1 comma age 1, and the relation EMP age is joined with EMP age with a condition that age greater than age 1, and finally it is finding the EMP number in the output. What does the above expression generates? Here we need to find which option is the correct one. To explain it, I will be giving you a small example. Here we do have two tables, EMP age and is joining with EMP age. EMP age having two attributes, EMP number comma age, EMP number comma age. For an example, I will be taking some employee numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and ages are 20, 19, 18 and 16. When you look for the second table, again it is an instance of the first one, that EMP age itself, but the table is renamed with attributes EMP number 1, age 1. Again I will be taking the same EMP age table with attributes names renamed as EMP number 1 comma age 1. Because it is an instance of the table, you can copy the same data 1, 20, 2, 19, 3, 18 and 4, 16. Fine. Now, between these two tables, we have a join condition, that is age greater than age 1. When you perform a join between two instances, it performs a Cartesian product. Among the Cartesian product number of tuples, it is going to select only those tuples whose age is greater than age 1. Here, age greater than age 1, 20 greater than 20 false, 20 greater than 19, 18, 16, which is true. It means this tuple is going to be selected and it requires to project the employee number 1 because the final output is EMP number, that is 1 possible. When you look for the combination with second tuple, 19 greater than 20 false, 19 greater than 19 false, 19 greater than 18 true, 16 true, means this is also true. So, the employee number 2 also possible to be in the output. When it comes to the third tuple, 18 greater than 20, 19, 18 false, 18 greater than 16 is true. So, that it is also going to give you the employee number 3 in the output. And the last combination, that 16 is greater than 20, 19, 18, 16, all are false. So, this employee number should not be in the output. Now, which are there in the output? 1, 2, 3 are there in the output except 4. Who is 4? 4 is an employee with minimum age. So, except employee with minimum age or smaller age will not be in the output, rest all are in the output. Now, coming to the options, employee numbers of only those employees whose age is maximum. Whose age is maximum means only 1 should be in the output, but along with 1 we also got 2 and 3 in the output. So, option A is incorrect. Option B, employee numbers of only those employees whose age is more than the age of exactly one another employee. Exactly one another employee means, here you can see employee 1 age is greater than 2, 3, 4. It means employee 1 age is greater than 3 employees. But what option given? Exactly one other employee. So option B is wrong. Option C, employee numbers of all employee whose age is the minimum. Whose age is the minimum means, here among all the employees, employee 4 age is minimum, but are you getting 4 in the output? No. So option C is also incorrect. Option D, employee numbers of all employees whose age is not the minimum. Who is minimum? Employee 4 is the minimum. Are you getting 4 in the output? No. Except for all you are getting. So it means answer for this question is option D. D is the correct answer for the question. Coming to the second question. This is based on the transactions, serializability. Here, it is given two schedules, schedule 1 and schedule 2. Question is, which one of the following options is correct? By looking the options, we can understand that the question is about conflict serializability. How do we find the conflict serializability? By constructing a precedence graph. Now, we construct a precedence graph for schedule 1. Now, the schedule is involving two transactions, T1 and T2. So, we have to draw two vertices, one for each transaction. And we need to draw edges for the conflicting operations. R1X not conflicting with any operations. What were the conflict operations? Read write, write read, write write of same data item by different transactions. Read 1Y conflict with write 2Y, because these are on the same data by different transaction. This conflict is read write conflict, and conflict is from T1 to T2. So, you draw an edge from 1 to 2. Look, R2X is going to conflict with W1X. This is again a read write conflict on the same data item X by the different transaction 2 and 1. Now, conflict is from 2 to 1. Then draw an edge from 2 to 1. Because the precedence graph do have a cycles, then the schedule is not said to be conflict serializable. We can say it is not CS. Look for schedule 2. In schedule 2, again we do have two transactions, 1 and 2 vertices. Now, look for the conflict operations. R1X not going to conflict with any operations. R2X conflict with W1X. It is a read write conflict from 2 to 1. Then draw an edge from 2 to 1. R2Y, W2Y, same transaction, not conflicts. R1Y, read read, not a conflict. That is X. W2Y, R1Y. It is a conflict, we call write read conflict from 2 to 1, an edge is already present. Any more conflicts possible? No. Because this precedence graph do not have any cycles, then the schedule is said to be conflict serializable. So, what we conclude, S1 is not CS, S2 is CS. Look for the options. Both S1 and S2 are conflict serializable. Incorrect. S1 is not conflict serializable and S2 is conflict serializable. This is a correct option. So, option C and D are the incorrect options. This is a question number 3, and among all the questions, I feel this is the beautiful question. Why? Because this question is based on the two subjects. One is database management system and another one is a probability. Now, coming to the question, a relation R of A comma B in a relational database has 1200 tuples. There are totally 1200 tuples. The attribute A has integer values ranging from 6 to 20. It means how many values are there for the attribute? The attribute A has values from 6 to 20. It means there are totally 15 values in the attribute A. And the attribute B has integer values ranging from 1 to 20. It means there are totally 20 different values in the column B possible, right? And the attribute B has integer values ranging from 1 to 20. Assume that the attributes A and B are independently distributed. It means A and B are, we call, two independent events. The estimated number of tuples in the output of the relational algebra expression A greater than 10 or B equal to 18 of R is, that estimation we can do according to the probability. That's what I am saying you. This question is based on DBMS and probability. That is a beautiful question. So estimation we have to do according to the probability. Now, here we do have two conditions, A greater than 10 or B equal to 18. We need to find the probability of A greater than 10. How do you calculate the probability? Favorable cases by total cases. Among 6 to 20, how many favorable cases for the value A greater than 10? Totally 10 cases are favorable, that is from 11 to 20. How many total cases? 15. So means probability of A greater than 10 is 10 by 15. What is the probability of B equal to 18? That is the second condition. For B, we do have totally 20 values. How many favorable cases possible for the value B equal to 18? Only one. Out of how many cases? 20. It means probability of B equal to 18 is 1 by 20. Now, what is the probability of A greater than 10 and B equal to 18? The probability of A greater than 10 and B equal to 18, which is equals to probability of A greater than 10 into probability of B equal to 18, that is 1 by 20. Why? Because these two are independently distributed, we can call independent events. So, what is the probability of A greater than 10 and B equal to 18? That is equals to 10 to the, that is 1 by 30. But what is the question? The question is for A greater than 10 or B equal to 18. Now, we need to find probability of A greater than 10 or B equal to 18, which is equals to probability of A greater than 10 plus probability of B equal to 18 minus probability of A greater than 10 and B equal to 18. Now, we know that the probability of A greater than 10, which is equals to 10 by 15 plus probability of B equal to 18, which is equals to 1 by 20 minus probability of A greater than 10 and B equal to 18, which is equals to 1 by 30. When you solve this, what you are going to get? You are going to get the LCM of 15, 20, 30, which is equals to 60. That is, it is 40 plus 3 minus 2, which is totally equals to 41 by 60. It means the probability of A greater than 10 or B equal to 18, which is equals to 41 by 60. Therefore, finally, the estimated number of tuples, the estimated number of tuples that you can determine based on the probability, which is equals to 41 by 60, into the total number of tuples. The total number of tuples are 1200. When you solve this, 60 20s. It means 41 into 20, which is equals to 820. 820 is the answer for the question. This is one of the beautiful questions asked from the combination of DBMS and probability. Coming to the next question. Suppose a database system crashes again while recovering from the previous crash. Assume checkpointing is not done. Why checkpointing is required? For storing the log records into the stable storage and making all the committed transaction become permanent. Here, but checkpointing is not done by the database either during the transactions or during the recovery. Which of the following statements are correct? The system cannot recover further. It is definitely wrong. Why? Because if a system crash occurs, it requires to recover. Recovery is possible. All the transactions that are already undone and redone will not be recovered again. This is wrong. Why? Because we cannot remove the log records that already stored into the log cannot be removed immediately. So option B is wrong. The same undo and redo list will be used while recovering the database system. Yes, correct. Even if you are getting a crash, whatever the undo and redo list is there, the same undo and redo list will be used for recovering from the crash. So C is correct. The database will become inconsistent. No, it is not correct. Why? Because the database system is going to maintain the set of log records. That log records will be used whenever a crash occurs into the database system. So answer for this question is option C. This is a question based on the decomposition. There are two properties of decomposition: lossless join and dependency preservation. By verifying the options, I can understand that this question is about only to verify whether the decompositions are lossy or lossless. Look for the question. Consider the relation R of P, Q, S, T, X, Y, Z, W with the following functional dependencies. These are the functional dependencies. Consider the decomposition of the relation R into the constituent relations according to the following two decompositions. This is decomposition 1, this is decomposition 2. Which one of the following options is correct? What options are given? D1 lossy, D2 lossless. D1, D2 lossy. D1 is lossless, D2 is lossy. D1, D2 are lossless. How to find the lossy or lossless? Here you can observe. First we will copy the dependencies along with the decompositions. What are the dependencies given? Here the dependencies are PQ to X, P to YX, Q to Y, and Y to ZW. And the first decomposition D1 is PQST. So I am calling R1 is PQST and R2 is PTX and the R3 is QY and YZW. R3 is QY and R4 which is equals to YZW. Now check what dependencies are there on each of it and try to find whether the decomposition is lossy or lossless. Check for the possibilities. We can join these two relations R1 and R2. Why? Because these two relations having some common attribute PT. So, what is R1 intersection R2 means with respect to attributes? Common attribute is PT. Now, this PT should determine the attributes of R1 or R2. So, how do you verify whether this PT is going to determine the attributes of R1 or R2? By finding the closure. What is a PT closure? PT closure is PT, with P we have Y and X, with Y we have Z and W. It means it is deriving P, T and X, means it is deriving the attributes of R2. Because it is deriving the attributes of R2, joining of R1 and R2 is lossless. If you join R1 and R2, I am calling the resultant relation is R12. The attributes are P, Q, S, T and X. Now, this result I wanted to join with R3. What is the common attribute of R12 and R3? That is a Q. Now, it requires that Q should determine the attributes of R12 or R3. How do you find? By finding the closure. What is a Q closure? Q, Y, Z, W. But what it requires to determine the attributes of R12 or R3. It is determining the attributes of R3. So, the decomposition of R12 with R3 is lossless. Now, what is R1, 2, 3 attributes? R12 is having P, Q, S, T, X, and R3 will have Q, Y, Y is also added. Now, this R1, 2, 3 is to be joined with R4. When you join these two, you are going to have a common attribute, that is Y. This Y should determine either attributes of R1, 2, 3 or R4. What are the attributes of Y closure? The Y closure will determine Y, Z, W. Anything else? No. And moreover, this Y closure is determining Y, Z, W, that is an R4. So, the decomposition of all of them is also lossless. So, what is D1? D1 is lossless, simple, right? Next, you check for D2. Now, what is D2? D2 will have PQS, TX, QY, YZW. Here you observe PQS you can join with QY because Q is common. Because Q to Y is a dependency, we can call Q is a key that is determining that QY relation. This PQS with Y, now you join with YZW. Here, because Y to ZW is a dependency, Y is a key, it is determining that fourth relation. So, that is also lossless. But when you join this R1, R3 and R4, what you are going to get? R1, 3, 4, the attributes are P, Q, S, Y, Z and W. This one you need to join with R2. What is R2? R2 is T and X. To perform a join between R1, 3, 4 and R2, there should be at least one common attribute. Do you have any common attribute of these two? No common attributes. Because no common attribute, joining of the two relations is not possible because no common attribute, we can say the decomposition D2 is called a lossy decomposition. What is D1? D1 is a lossless decomposition. So, now coming to the answer. D1 is a lossy, wrong. Both D1 and D2 are lossy, wrong. Why? Because D1 is lossless. D1 is lossless, right. But D2 is lossy, right. Option D, both D1 and D2 are lossless decompositions, wrong. So, what is the answer for this question? Option C. Option C is the answer for the question. These are the 5 questions asked from DBMS from 5 different topics. Thank you.